farm with pure Addo Cape buffalo, disease-free and Nyala. We do supplement their feeding now and then with lucerne and game pellets. A rotational program has been put into place to ensure that the highest quality of health and standards are maintained. From a commercial point of view, the breeding programs definitely need the Inyala, as they are short-term cash flow for the funding of the long-term projects for the buffalo. Without a doubt, the superior infrastructure that we have is definitely a key element to the intensive breeding camps and programs. Everything is solar power here. The energizers run off the solar batteries, and we always will have power when we have load shedding. The intensive breeding project has created additional employment on the farm. However, just as important as creating more jobs, we also believe that knowledge transfer is key to the sustainability of wildlife industry. The uniqueness of the pure Addo disease-free Cape buffalo, I think, is something we should truly treasure in the Eastern Cape, because no other province in South Africa has it. We aim to boost their population and improve their genetics in order for them to become more available to other wildlife farmers. Thereby, we contribute to the sustainability of this unique Eastern Cape species. We want to set the benchmark for intensive breeding camps and infrastructure, and I think we truly have a good chance of showing that and doing that to show the rest of the people how to truly do intensive breeding programs.
Our family, we've been on the farm since 1854. Well, we basically got Lindale Farm and Hopely, and then Lincrest are the three main parts of the farm. Hopely is the game breeding side, where we're starting to get into the intensive side of breeding and breeding actual stud animals. We've got the buffalo and the sable we've just started. In Nyala, we've started buying in some bigger bulls to try and get our genetics right. We've just now unloaded, I think last week, a 55-inch kudu bull with some kudu cows. There are about 12 kudu cows in there, and then we've also got the 5 normal Impala ewes that are pregnant to a black ram. And then on this side, basically the other 2,300 hectares where it's properly built. As you go further down, we basically own both sides of the Assegai River for about 10 k's. There's a massive dam further up where we get into proper steep kranzes and cliffs, where we do our hunting and our game capture just for general sale to other farmers who aren't in the big breeding area. We also use this side mainly for entertaining our guests, so we're busy cleaning up the farm, getting the stock right, so that when they come there, they do feel like they're in wild Africa. With our predator control, we've now brought Orobi and Bontebok, which are doing phenomenally well. We're part of the Assegai Conservancy, which is basically from here to Alex. As my grandfather stepped out, I've stepped in to offer my help. A couple of farmers have been involved, and it entails game guards, training game guards who come check fences, do almost a stock count for farmers in the general area. So that's, for us, has been a key management strategy to manage our game and manage the people around us so that we can have friends and neighbours who are willing to help. For us, our main influence, I think, we'd have as a family and as a farm is the ability to introduce Inyala into this area. We have large passive capture camps where we feed them in with oats and chase them through the bush, and by the time they get onto the trailer, they actually don't even know what's going on. Well, we've trained our staff up. We have 4 of our staff members who actually have valid driver's license. We had our first sale this year in April, towards the end of April, where we had about 250 head of game. So it was a bit of a baptism of fire that I got, but we had a lot of friends willing to help us and give advice, which made it a lot easier for me. But it was a massive relief once we'd got all of the game to the respective buyers. everyone was happy that went to the sale, and we had a massive turnout. The main thing is that, like we said earlier, the passionate people at the core, and they love being part of this farm and looking after this farm. And I think the surrounding community can see that, and lots of people want to be part of it.
Well, our ultimate market is the hunting market. So what we've got to do, and what we are doing, is to develop it into as natural an environment as possible. It already has the wildness which we aim for, being on the edge of the Transkei. And we hope to exploit that in the future in our marketing. Intensive game breeding doesn't really go with that, but there's a certain amount of it that we will do to take advantage of the exceptional animals that we've got down here. We have been managing it for about 12 years, shooting bottom up rather than top down, and improving the genetics. A big challenge, and one which is we've done quite successfully so far, is to integrate our neighbours across in the Transkei into the vision that we have for the place. Stop poaching, become more friendly towards game farming. And the ultimate objective is to get more people to convert to game around us, and to attain a target of about 20,000 hectares, which will then really make it into good hunting country. Ron Thompson's teachings have helped us enormously. We read a lot of what he says. We use every single opportunity we can to show that you don't have to like hunting to accept it as a practice. You'll find that every single farmer belongs to a farmers association, but not every game rancher belongs to Wildlife Ranching SA, which is a great pity. Every person who owns a game farm should belong to Wildlife Ranching SA. We've gone out of our way to assist communities, especially in undeveloped areas across the Kaya. We've started up an agro-processing company where about 400 people are employed. Conservation is first about the soil, secondly about the vegetation, and lastly about the animals. And everywhere you go, it seems to be the exact reverse. There's a huge focus on the animals, on the breeding of the animals, and often the vegetation gets neglected. What we try to form is as natural an environment as human interference will let us create. At every opportunity where we can, we've got to show government that this is a form of economic enterprise that is beneficial to the communities, it's beneficial to government, and it's better land use, or as good a land use as commercial farming. Because if they don't see it like that, then they're not going to support it. So apart from the sustainability of your own operation, you've got to look at the wider sustainability of the economics of wildlife ranching.
Well, basically, I've always been passionate about wildlife. In 2006, we were fortunate to purchase Bengoil Farm. Due to the size of the farm and the steep terrain of the property, it took us about a year to enclose. This property is a natural heritage site due to the vast amount of cycads and bushman paintings in the area. The reserve encompasses 3 farms, totaling 3,500 hectares, which we currently have 28 species on the property. In 2008, we were fortunate to purchase a small herd of Bontebok, which are currently doing very well on the property. Our first rare game breeding project we started in 2010 with Black Impala, and then in 2011 we introduced Livingston Eland and Sable, who've done very well on the property. In 2013 we were very fortunate to purchase Jabu from Norman Adamy, and some buffalo cows from WRSA, and that's how our small buffalo herd was started. One of our key management strategies is to market and sell our game at the correct time, thus getting the best price for your animals. One of our main focus is producing fertile, productive animals that can be well adapted elsewhere in the country. Without your staff, you can't manage anything, and that is the success of this property. We were the first people to bring in rare game into this area in 2011. We've been involved in capturing and relocation of game for the last 10 years. We've also been developing properties for the last 15 years in terms of game fencing new areas. We've just recently established a Cape Vulture restaurant where we monitor vultures in the area. We currently run an annual mentorship program for students that are entering the wildlife industry. We also employ only local personnel who we train in the various aspects of wildlife ranching. We support responsible and ethical hunting practices as we believe that it is the only way that the hunting industry in the country will survive. Through hunting, we remove all the inferior animals on the property and then add higher quality animals to improve the genetic diversity of the herds and current population of animals. Self-sufficiency. I mean, we think that self-sufficiency is vital for the conservation of animals through water security, food production. Well, basically, we believe here, or I believe, that if you're passionate and dedicated to something, you'll succeed. I mean, there's no two ways about it. I mean, we invest so much, or I invest so much of my time in it.
Main property that I operate is the breeding operation, which is quite nice. I had the ability to do all the water system fence lines and everything as I liked it. So I know where what is and how the operation functions from start up. Quan has also always been known for the great quality buffalo. So we're trying to continue that streak and carry on with that. We've brought in some exceptional genetics in the past, and we're continuing to do so. Furthermore, we also got some other rare species like roan and bontebok that we're trying to promote and breed up. We've also got quite a few of the color variants in as well, bringing their numbers up and just supplementing the buffalo operation as a whole. I'm quite a firm believer of managing the veld and not just the animals, and we're trying to adapt strategies, and we've filled up quite a few hectares of previously unusable arid land, and which is now top grazing areas in our camp systems. We try and rotate the areas where we feed, so we're not over-compacting certain areas. Once animals move away, we'll also rehabilitate the areas where they feed. We try to keep our feed like high quality, but that you can still use anywhere else. So it's a mix that you can send to another farm, and everybody's got access to lucerne or teff and basic grains and stuff. So just doing a basic mix and having hardy animals, it can survive in the Eastern Cape, which is it's a hard province, but if you do it right, I think it's doable. All our dung samples and blood smears, a lot of it we do ourselves in-house. We've got a lab facility to do that, so we get quick, effective results. Upliftment starts at the work. I mean, I really try and pass on some of the skills that I've gained over the years to my staff as well. I think the Signature Wildlife Auction has really brought a different class of game farmer to the area into the Eastern Cape. It's really put a spotlight on the Eastern Cape, and you see a lot of people showing interest in buying property here and starting to invest and buying some of our animals back and taking it up north. We definitely feel like we're competing with the entire national market at the moment, not just the Eastern Cape. And I think we've set our brand out there, and we believe we can carry that forward.
The farm in extent is 5,780 hectares, and it's divided into 3 camps, mostly to separate the black and blue wildebeest, the mountain zebras and the common zebra, and then the bontebok and the blesbok. And of course we have a breeding program with buffalo. The buffalo which we breed down in Rietfontein, they're more extensive. Once a year we'll sort of take all the heifers out and tag them. The males then we put onto this side, which has only bulls, which is basically our future hunting stock. The object of the breeding program was more to produce hunting stock, hunting animals for the hunting program. All of our breeding programs have good bulls, and we've tried to weed out the less impressive females and improve the whole gene pool.
We do all the hunting here as purely bow hunting only. So we have a bunch of blinds set up over the property for it, and we also, the 3 rivers, we do a lot of walk and stalk in those rivers, which is a lot more challenging. You know, with us doing a lot of bow hunting only, the game seems very tame, especially when you're driving around in the vehicles. So it's a bit easier to manage. You know, we pick up on the problems out in the veld, especially for our high value bulls. You know, if there's issues, you know, we pick it up pretty quickly. You know, we have a big boma on the buffalo side, and that we feed the buffalo herd in there. So they just walk in and we can just close the gates, and we've got a whole bunch of sliding doors so we can separate the herd without any dart being fired, without any massive stress.
Vir die beeld van die wildbedryf in ons area wil ons 'n suksesvolle besigheid bestuur en bedryf. Ons doen ons kant met ongediertebeheer. In ons semi-intensiewe teelkampe het ons elektrisiteit ingesit en ons het sif ingesit en ons het al die teelkampe het ons toegepak met klippe. Wat ons doen om die erosie te bekamp, gebruik ons die klipmandjies of guybeens en ons pak die slote toe, en so kan ons grondoppervlak verbeter en die draagkrag van ons grond. Dis moeilike bestuurspraktyke om jou veld te rus. So met ons intensiewe teelprogramme kan ons dit toepas, en dan is ons besig om die res van die plaas, het ons klomp strategieë wat ons probeer om waterpunte te skuif en so aan. Daar's 'n klomp uitdagings wat ons as wildboere het, en ek dink as ons dit reg aanspreek en ons doen die regte dinge, dan gaan ons 'n positiewe beeld kan skep van die wildboerdery. Soos julle gaan sien, het ons lodge baie mooi uitgebrei, en ons bou al vir die laaste 4 jaar, bou en verbeter ons die hele plaas, die lodge, en dit is maar, ek dink dat dit baie geld in die plaaslike ekonomie ingebring, en vir werkskepping. Ons moes boumas oprig, ons moes ons intensiewe kampe oprig, so ons het plaaslike kontrakteurs gekry. Ons wil trots wees op ons plaas, en die mense om ons in die omgewing moet hiernatoe kan kom en sien dat ons regtig 'n poging aanwend om die wildbedryf 'n goeie beeld uit te straal.
What we do here could best be described as semi-extensive. We run sable, we run roan, we run buffalo, and we're just starting out to get going with some herds of plains game at the moment. Our team are important to us. I think every man needs to be fulfilled in his work. They need to be in a home environment in their family where they're happy. They need to be able to be part of a community where they can be happy. So that's important to us. Quite quickly, a man will show you what his capabilities are, what he's good at. And for his health and for the health of the business, that needs to be developed. On the team are a few people who are able to think of new ways of doing things. For instance, the big round bale feeder. I haven't seen any of those anywhere else. I'm very fortunate to be involved with a group of guys who have formed a study group. And I suppose because I'm one of the older guys, they made me the chairman of it. We started off with just a handful of people, and it's now been expanded. It's quite a big study group now. We get upwards of 50 people coming to a meeting, and most of the emphasis is to be outside with the herds, seeing how that person does what they do, asking questions, learning, finding out. We've actually had exceptional speckworm germinations. In an area, there'd be a few hundred young spectrum growing. It's been very pleasing to see that positive result. Summit stands foursquare to promote the game industry in the Eastern Cape. As far as the animals are concerned, I think we concentrate quite strongly on reproduction. You know, to that end, we make sure that the animals get good nutrition. For the more extensive herds, it would mean moving them in time. You know, not stressing them by making them graze in a camp for too long. Starting with my dad, he taught me about sheep grazing, that you need to be in for a short time and you need to be out for a long time. A short, intense period of grazing followed by a long period of rest. And I've tried to apply those principles to game farming as well. I've been very happy with the results so far.